You built the business. Now, build the man. This is the Ben Price experience.
Kenny, I should have asked how to pronounce your name before I started this.
I had to learn. The Marmarella bit's my wife's name. She's Italian.
Mammarella-D'Cruz.
That's it. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's a lot of syllables, eh?
Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz, who are you and why are you here?
Oof, what's your name and where'd you come from? Who am I? Well, do you know, I can't really be asked to limit myself with who I am. I've got into a different habit. And the different habit is just noticing whatever's in the way and letting go of who I no longer need to be. So there's space for who I am to just like change and grow and play and experiment and stuff like that. But I guess in this context, what a lot of people call me is the man whisperer, because many years ago there was a chapter, well, there was a front page, what do you call it, story in Newsweek about men and mental health. And I had a little bit in that. Everyone else was a doctor. And then they put a book out. I didn't realize they were writing a book. And the chapter, my chapter, was called The Man Whisperer. So I thought, oof, I love that. So I've been the Man Whisperer ever since. I trademarked it or copyrighted it or whatever it is. Yeah. And that works because I work, or I'm known for my work with men. And it's, for me, all about asking the right questions at the right moment so their paths can unfold and they can find out who they are, why they're here, get out of pain, get out of confusion, get out of survival mode, get out of fawning and fearing and all of that, and grow into who they are. Nice. And my fear with all of that was I was petrified that I'd influence people, steal people's lessons, steal people's power, where it's for them to discover rather than for me to be a smart ass. Yeah. So it's all about the journey for me. And I've had a bit of a dodgy and tough journey, and I've been lots of different people. And I guess I'm different people to different things to different people. We all are one way or another. But I've learnt to be in the question, I guess, because my attachment to picture caused so much pain for so many years.
Your attachment to picture?
To picture how I want things to be. When it's like this, then everything will be okay. Yes. And it's not only when it's like that, but my attachment to how to get there, how to move there. I've been holding men's groups for almost 30 years, men's groups for about 26, 27 years or something. And they've been online every day since lockdown.
Amazing.
And it's been profound how many men come in literally asking either out loud or otherwise, who am I and how do I do me right? Where the question, as far as I'm concerned, always turns around into, it's like, who do I need to be and how do I do me right? And the question is more, who are you? So people can grow into who they are rather than be what other people tell them to be. And rather than doing themselves right, it's like from your being, how are you meeting life and what is life bringing to you? And how can you grow into yourself? So the groups, and I would say my work is all about being rather than doing. And the doing is an extension of the being. Where I'd say one of the big tragedies, especially with men and especially with social media and stuff, is show the world that you've got the money, the muscles, the lifestyle, whatever. Lie to the world generally. So someone might think that you're good enough to hang out with. And it's lonely and it's upsetting. Where in the groups in my life, it's like right here and right now. You're perfect and so am I. And we don't need to do anything to hang out. And what I love about what's happened already is we've never met. We've started with record and we're hanging out. And I've been dying to ask you, are you Welsh? Because with a name like Price, you must be.
It's so funny that you asked that because I'm not Welsh, but my name is obviously Price, which I only recently, I knew it originated in Wales for a long time, but recently I've been very interested in initiation for men. And then that led me on to a conversation with a guy called Mac McCarthy. Have you ever come across Mac?
Yeah. I know his name well.
So I
think we've met.
We've done a great podcast, and he spent a lot of time with Native American tribesmen, and they asked him, what's your tribe? And he was like, what do you mean? So what's your tribe? Where'd you come from? And he didn't know, and that was his one of the things you had to go and find out. And then obviously that got me thinking, like, what's my tribe? Where do I come from? And so I looked into it quite recently, and it is Gaelic Welsh.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's son of Reese, Reese, and then it became Price, and then it.
Is that how it came? I didn't realise that Price is son of Reese, which
Son
is
of Reese.
very, very common. After refugee camp, it was my first and third home in the UK was refugee camp. After refugee camp, I moved to a small town in Wales, which is why I asked. So between the ages of 7 and 17, I was brought up in a small town in Pembrokeshire, which I moved back to, 3.5 years ago, unexpectedly. And I love that from the shape of people's faces, I know their families.
Oh, really?
And where I live, and Irish. It's the crossing to Ireland here. So we moved here partly because of, there was racism in the refugee camp because we weren't Indian enough, being Goan and Catholic and really more kind of Portuguese culture. So we moved to a small Catholic town. My father was on the death list in Uganda, so we had to go into hiding and then flee without him. So the first refugee camp was without him, and the second refugee camp was many months later when he came to the UK. And he helped to run the 3 refugee camps in Italy. Dodgy people who had the money to take care of the refugee camps were cutting the cigarettes and cutting the rations and cutting things. And there was trouble in the camps. People had just lost their lives and there might have been some deaths and things. So people were messy in the refugee camps. And there was trouble amongst the different types of Indians because, there are different races and different castes and different whatever. So he got together a representative from each of the type of Indians with the common language of Swahili. And they kind of got a council together to take care of people so everyone could survive. And then because of the way the rations were cut, all the men went on hunger strike. So he made a bit of a name for himself while he was over there, really helping to run things out. So they asked him to help out in the refugee camp that he was in this country, which is our second refugee camp. And then we found out about this small Catholic community with Welsh, Irish, Italians and whatever, people we were used to for church. And they still live a mile down the road. I mean, we lost contact with all our friends because we were on the death list, so they could have got in trouble. So we were well on our lonesome. Anyway, that's more about me.
Now I have a million questions. So you're Indian as in India?
Well, my family's from Goa.
Okay, Goa.
And Goa's been Indian since, I think it was made a state in the 90s, and I think it was taken over in the late 60s. It was always Portuguese. Hence my culture being Portuguese and Catholicism and all of that.
Okay.
But then, to be honest, I don't feel very Goan because I wasn't really brought up with a lot of Goans. I don't feel very Indian.
Yeah.
I don't feel bits and bobs from everywhere. There's a part of me that even feels Fijian because I lived in Fiji for a while. Cool. I really got to know the culture and I did a lot in Fiji. And I guess I've always been a bit of a misfit and a bit of a chameleon. And my biggest tragedy for so much of my life, especially as a boy and a young man, was never belonging, always being the outsider, always being the quirky misfit. Plus I had body dysmorphia, obsessive compulsive disorder, Tourette's and various other things. So I was a basket case, one way or another, a misfit, an outsider and a basket case, with a lot of dirty little secrets that I needed to hide in order to survive and pretend to be normal.
Wow. So how did you navigate all of that to get to working with men? That sounds like quite the...
To be frank, I had to literally unfuck myself up.
Yeah.
Because I was well fucked up in every way. At home, at school, at work, the OCD ran my life. The body dysmorphia ran my life. Poverty wasn't easy. And just kind of being normal and being social and getting on with things was tough. So I had to unlearn to set myself free. I had to meet myself in my shadow. I had to meet myself in the places that caused these traumas, and really sit with myself there. and breathe myself back, literally. It's almost like the traumatized child in me, lost in different times and places, needed to be met and held by the man in me. So he could turn from trauma and running the show, being in limbo, into, I guess, the free-spirited man I feel I am now. Because my child is safe, I can be present, I'm no longer twitching and picking and God knows what. I'm present and I'm able to meet the world. And if I can meet myself there and undo it, and, you know, none of us knew anything about therapy, and the things that have the fancy labels these days didn't have labels. It was just weird and annoying and asking for trouble. So I had to learn to let it go. And now I can meet other people where they're lost and stuck and show them how to let it go.
And did you have mentors along the way, or did you learn? How did you learn?
Not for that bit. No, it was all kind of working it out myself one way or another. I had to work it out myself. I did a lot of reading, but that was more, I guess, spiritually orientated. I guess. And it was, you know, not so much woo-woo type spirituality, the modern stuff that everyone tries to bypass with or make sense with or manifest with or whatever. This was more the secret doctrine, you know, stuff like theosophy, where all the religions come together into the essence of life. And it's where art meets spirit meets science, including the shadow. And I was curious. It was more important for me to crack the code, not just on myself, but on life, than it was to be, I don't know, playing football and being popular. In fact, I didn't want to play football and be popular because I didn't want anyone to touch me with the obsessive compulsive. I didn't like changing rooms. They were wild and really quite vicious. I was attacked on the first day in secondary school in the changing room because of race being the only, well, in the old days, it was the only coloured in the village. Now it's the only off colour in the village. So yeah, didn't want to do that. And it was freezing cold here. It was like hot in Africa. It was blissful. This is cold and wet. And I was just like frozen. Wow. So yeah, I have been around a bit, like you said earlier.
So you had to really learn how to father yourself.
Yeah. And others, definitely. My brother, my mother, and to an extent, my father at times as well.
You had to father your father?
To an extent. In Uganda, I would say we lived very charmed lives, and we had my grandparents living with us. And once they left, it's like the generation after me, my parents, aunts and uncles were like orphans, basically. So the space available was to father, to be responsible, to hold it together. And I was kind of bred to take care of the women anyway, to be responsible. You know, the whole golden boy enmeshed with women, Oedipal complex thing, where my status was elevated, but I was enslaved to be responsible for the emotions of the women. So I really got to know the female and the toxic female ways, including passive aggression, abandonment, exclusion, the whole gossip thing, things like that. And for me, the difference, tell me if I'm getting carried away once I start sometimes.
That's brilliant.
For me, the big difference between a man and a boy is a man includes the feminine side, where boys are generally fear and reaction. Men can also come from love and response. Boys can make a lot of noise where men can listen. Boys generally compete, and it's all about the pecking order, where men know when it's time to pass the ball and when it's time to score and can collaborate. And it's about being in it together without having to be in the pecking order. For me, the way to win is not to play, especially if it's a stupid game that's not going anywhere.
Yeah. It's very pertinent that you've mentioned that. So I have created a initiation for men to go through. And so this whole idea of what's the difference between a boy and a man is fascinating to me and very relevant. Yeah,
Tell me about your initiation.
You
can't
just
away. Drop it in there and not get into it.
The initiation, so basically it's connected to what we spoke about, really, because when I was looking at where do I come from and what's my name, I also wanted to know what would an initiation have looked like for a man of that era. And then I was using obviously I was using AI to figure it out. And it said, well, there's 4 gates that a man would go through. And the first gate is like, can he be trusted with a sword? The second gate, and it's not, they are kind of like, you can't pass it on your own. You have to kind of be recognized by other people, other men, in a sense. So you can't grant it to yourself. You have to earn that by the way you act and the way you are. Not to say you need to fake anything. The second one is, can you be trusted to use the sword in battle? And then the third one is, can he be heard among his peers and respected? And then the fourth one is, can he be trusted with a mission, and can he be trusted with something greater than himself? And so that was the ancient kind of path. And then I looked at King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and it lines up. So the first gate is the gate of the warrior, second one was the magician, third one's the lover, fourth one's the king. And so, yeah, that's the pathway to go through all of that, understand each of the shadows that you mentioned that are related to each part of that. And I think a lot of men are trying to be the king, be a king, be a leader. They don't understand their shadows, and they certainly don't have their warrior. They might have their warrior online a little bit, but they don't really have the warrior. They can't get shit done. They're procrastinating a lot, and they certainly don't have a lover. The lover is so suppressed, it's unreal. And so it's great to hear you mention, you know, a man has to understand that feminine side of him as well.
Totally. Do you know Rod? What's his name? Boothroyd?
No.
He wrote a version of the King, Warrior, Magician, Lover book.
Oh, okay,
It'd be
cool.
great to have on sometime.
Yeah.
And do you know Craig White?
No. Please introduce
Excellent
us.
guy. I will. He works a lot with this, when I don't know if he still does this retreats. He used to train rugby teams. Might still do that. And Dan, someone I wondered whether you knew. What's Dan's name? Dan Standy. He used to train commandos or something.
Cool.
And he runs Men and Mountains, where people go walking in.
Oh, lovely.
But all over the place. I think
Yeah.
Snowdonia mainly.
Well, we're literally about to go to Snowdon at the end of March.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll put you in touch with these guys. They are excellent guys.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of initiations and ceremonies and what do you call them? Formulas and whatever. And they work. A lot of them work very, very well. There are a lot of great organizations out there. I feel the bottom line is how we, irrespective of gender, live our lives. And for me, it's about claiming the moment. Every moment. And a tragedy for me is when people do trainings and then they're kind of not sure how to live life, build a bridge between the training, the high, the tools that they pick up, and daily life.
It's so motivating to be in those environments.
And very often very separate from daily life. And one of the things that I love about the groups, I guess the strapline we've got for the men's groups is hang out, be heard, and get real. One of the most important thing for me is that it is as true to daily life as possible, rather than, you know, with a lot of organizations, it's like, we're safe, we are the way, we have special words and phrases that other people don't get. Where for me, it's like, well, this needs to be a place. One of the ground rules is experiment with who you are. And another one is play bigger than the rules. So you meet yourself at the edge.
What do you mean, special phrases and things? What do you mean?
People have special words and phrases depending on the workshops and the things that they do. For example, a lot of my clients have done the Landmark Forum training.
Yeah.
And great training for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that have done it. I've known the organization well. And there are a lot of words and phrases that I've got to know and I've needed to use in order to relate to people and speak to them in their language. Where for me, it's like, what is your daily language in daily life that you can live things that you've learned and spread them in the world? So the goodness just creates the new paradigm that we're living into, especially now. Because the way that I feel there is so much tension about the way the world is falling apart, whether it's because of wars or the financial situation or AI taking over or the programming of the programs that people watch as our ears and eyeballs are stolen, things are falling apart. And I would say what's really important is to allow it to, because it is, rather than fight it or deny it, and have a space inside and with other people to live the love, to live the goodness, to in every moment come back right here and right now and take part in life in alignment with self and consciously.
You said something now, which is, you said two things, which makes me think that you might have read Robert Bly.
Yeah. Long
Descent.
time ago. Don't ask me to quote anything.
No, I've recently read it. I recently read, what's it called? Iron John. And part of what he talks about in Iron John is the golden boy, which you mentioned, not in that context. Descent. Descent is part of initiation, and civilizations also descend. This is what you're talking about.
Totally.
Exactly what you said. Yeah.
And I would say, so trendy these days. What's my purpose? I found my purpose. Now I need to believe my purpose and sell it to everyone else that I'm good enough to hang out with. And I can be liked on social media, which is just bollocks if you ask me. It's like, be you here and now, and it doesn't need the razzmatazz. And I find most people find a purpose, putting right what wasn't right for them.
Yeah. The descent kind of puts us into action and then gives you the purpose, I guess.
Well, quite often the descent, I would say, crumbles the spirit into nothingness, rock bottom, helplessness, real vulnerability, without the stories and beyond any energy for anything. And then something can change. Yeah. Was it Robert Bly who called it the ashes? Someone did. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I guess also the kind of the problem is, because we're taught descent is such a bad thing, that when men get to rock bottom, they then think the only way is often to take their lives, right? Which is reflected in the stats of current day. Whereas initiation would have taught us that descent is necessary for you to come out of the ashes.
I once met a Maasai warrior guy, embarrassing story, and I was so chuffed that I remembered his name to introduce to my friend, and I got it wrong. And this is probably politically incorrect or socially wrong to say, but his name was either Alu Gay or Alu Queer, and I introduced him as the wrong one, and obviously he didn't get it. My friend was just killing himself laughing inside. I was dying of embarrassment. Anyway, I met this guy, lovely guy. Luckily he spoke English and we got to hang out. And he told me that his initiation, same as all the other Maasais, was to kill a lion. What I didn't realize about that initiation is, in order for him to kill a lion, all the other men risked their lives in hunting the lion, being around the lion, and allowing him to kill the lion, where the lion could have killed any of them. That's another level. We got on well. This is another side story, which is very slightly dodgy. And he said to me, come and stay in my village. I have many wives, and, every wife builds a hut, and then he chooses which wife to be with that night. I have many wives, and you can stay in a hut. Just before accepting, I was told that if I do stay in a hut, they'll give me a spear that I need to put out of the hut to say, I am here, don't enter. And if I don't make love to his wife, it's the biggest insult I could possibly give him, and I would be in deep trouble.
Wow.
So I didn't. My girlfriend wouldn't have approved, and I would have been too scared and freaked out. And, no, absolutely no way. So that was my initiation of not to be initiated by his village.
That's good to know, because I was just thinking as you say it, I've heard so many stories about the Maasai. I was like, I must go there one day. I remember that if I ever end up there.
Be careful which tribe, because some tribes are really, you need to take someone who knows their customs and what's what, but be careful which tribe. It's all very glamorous to go in and do all of these things, but yeah, got to be safe. Got to be safe. That's the beginning and end of it. And to go back, there are so many different ways of initiation, whether they are life-threatening or ritualistic. The most important thing is that a person feels it.
Yes.
And gets it.
Totally agree with that.
And surrenders to it. and let's go and find themselves in it. And I would say there are enough men to an extent looking for it these days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It could be said that the reason a man doesn't open up, the reason a man doesn't talk, the reason a man doesn't take part in life fully is because there is no one there to hold him.
Yeah.
Why would a man talk if no one's going to listen? Or if it's going to be fixed, laughed at, second guessed, belittled, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think there's two things there. One is, I think we're looking for initiation, which is why we do Ironman, why we do triathlon, why we do fitness events, why we, I think we're trying to prove ourselves, right? Try to do something, test ourselves. And I think the narrative, which I've started to, or had started to believe and started to kind of repeat as well, is like men don't talk. But the stats don't reflect that.
It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish.
It's rubbish, right? So we do talk, but I think a lot of people, therapists included, which is why your work's super important, don't have the right tools to give men, and also are quite uncomfortable with it. Like, it's a bit weird. They're like, whoa, you're supposed to be, because you're supposed to be a man, right? You're supposed to not have any of this going on. What do you think to that?
It's also hierarchical. I mean, the media love the whole men don't talk thing to make stories out of it.
Right.
Meanwhile, I have spoken with thousands of men over 26 years in groups, hundreds of clients the world over, male. And of course they want to talk. And same with boys. I trained boys in a boarding school to hold groups.
Oh, cool.
And picked up the tools, and they talked and they told the truth. And the way that they are together, it's on the same side, helping each other out, not scared to be physical. I gave a talk in a boarding school the other day. 13 and 14-year-old children of all genders, and it was the scariest thing because it was about adolescence, individuality, gender, and how to be with each other with boundaries safely and consciously. And it was quite blank. There were like 200-300 of them in a big auditorium. I don't do PowerPoint presentations, but everything needed to be approved, and then the PowerPoint wouldn't work properly. And it was scary, especially with so many people there. Not only them not really talking, but a lack of facial expressions.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But one of the boys, there was a row of cool guys who took a liking to me, thankfully. One of the boys had the courage to say something about bromance. And it's like full marks to you, naming it and living it and normalizing it.
Bromance.
And a lot of people laughed.
Like
then I noticed it was mainly the girls that laughed. And I named this. How interesting. Because, bottom line is you're here to learn everything with education, with health and fitness, with sports. That boarding school's very, very well known for sports in the military, and love and boundaries and who you're turning into, especially during adolescence, and protecting your brains because your brain's developing. Don't weird it out with social media.
Mm.
But they laughed, and it was great that beyond the laughter, there was permission to love and to be on the same side and to care for each other. And outside the group, walking around the grounds, the way that the children were together was wonderful.
After the talk.
And, this isn't because of the talk. This is how they are.
Okay.
I was brought into that boarding school not just to train the mental health ambassadors on how to communicate and hold groups and things like that, but also when there was bullying in one of the houses, and the way that they were honest about what they get up to and how they are together and what goes on and how they help each other out. And it's just phenomenal. But the media love a bad story. The consumers love a bad story. Who wants to talk about what's working?
Yeah.
And I've been doing this forever. I mean, I could talk about my own best friend quite a few years ago. His wife said to him, Kenny doesn't love you. Kenny's in love with you. And that was supposed to shame him and put him off and, I guess, change the relationship that we have. Meanwhile, and this guy was a huge mummy's boy, needing to please women, etc. I was blown away that without thinking, he said, and I'm in love with him too. Whether it's true or not really doesn't matter, but it's like, it's all about love. And it can be showed in many very weird ways, and it can be avoided in many ways because of the work I do, whether it's with private clients or with groups. I don't know whether you've had the same thing. It can come to a stage where being their father figure, best friend replacement, big brother replacement, or whatever it is, I've got seriously punished for other people's sins and pushed and tested to see, am I going to break? Am I going to be seduced into this drama, or can I take it and hold it so they're safe enough to take the next step in their lives and open up? And the safety has to be there. And it's very normal for men and boys, call them boys because it's more boy behavior, to abandon, when the course is done, when the fix is had, when it's out the other end of the sales funnel, to abandon. Or even in relationships, it's just like, this is getting too close, this is getting too personal, this is getting too deep, this is getting too scary, I'm out of here.
Interesting. Yeah, I can think of a few occasions where that might have happened, actually, now you mention it, but maybe I haven't been aware of it.
It's important, eh?
Yeah. So can you give me more examples of where that might happen or how that might happen?
Well, I guess there's one going on now with me. I'll think of, I like to make things personal rather than theoretical. There's a bloke I've known for, probably 20 years. He's probably been coming to the groups for about 19 years. He's a facilitator. I train people to facilitate groups, and I do supervision as well for facilitators and therapists and coaches and whatever. Brilliant facilitator. We've done some things together. Very, very solid, hardy man, really respected within the community. And we've done some very deep work together. Hats off to him. At the moment, he's going through a couple of things in his life, with his family, with himself, the next chapter in his life. He's in one of my closed groups as well. And I got a message from him, very clear with him this time, saying, it's interesting how much anger I have towards you at the moment, how much rage I have towards you.
Oh, I see.
And
yeah.
And the conversations I'm having with you in my head, which makes me feel relieved that he can be this aware, and let me know. Yeah. Where previously I had a client, very, very popular bloke, incredibly good looking, alpha male type, well built, blah, blah, blah. And we turned things around. When I first met him, he was a drug addict, kind of like suicidal tendencies, but more toying with it, with the way that he was meddling with drugs and other things. And he was in children's home, foster care. He once told me of the time when he was in children's home, and he'd say to the other kids, I don't need someone to pick me, to take me home, because my grandparents are going to come and take me home one day. And he'd say that to them. And one day his grandparents showed up at the children's home. They lived in a different country. He was in New Zealand. No, he was in Australia. They were in New Zealand. And they showed up and they said, no, we haven't come to take you home. We're going back to New Zealand and leaving you here. Can you imagine? So over time, I got punished for the father he never knew, for the mother who was also an addict and let him go into foster care and then children's home. I was punished for the grandparents. I had to be punished for all of these things, the people that betrayed him and harmed him and didn't bring him up. And so it went on. Wow. And it was absolute hell. Probably more for him than me. Right. Because I held it as he felt it so he could let it go. And all the popularity that he had and everything that he did so well, people really wanted to get near him, but he couldn't really accept love. Everything that he had was not worth anything. People would be disposed if they came too close, and he carried on with the script. But this is the one probably that I really learnt this from, because he turned out a really wise, grounded, excellent bloke who then worked with kids who went through what he went through because other people couldn't meet them in that way. And that's what he needed to put right. That wasn't right for him.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. That's really powerful. And I've definitely seen that kind of play out. You know, when people say, I hate you right now, they really do. And I wasn't aware. I knew that. I think you've just brought it to my consciousness, but it's like when you have that conversation about why they're hating on you, what comes out of that is incredible. Always. Do you make people aware of it at the start? Like at some point, you're probably going to, there's a possibility that our relationship, you're going to hate me.
No, absolutely nothing. Because then it's almost like this is part of what we have to do in order for you to be okay. Meanwhile, they show up, especially males, knowing what they need to do to fix themselves and to fix their lives, where, again, it's about the undoing and the being. So no influence whatsoever. I need to follow their lead. Yeah. What I do in a situation like that, sometimes, if it's relevant, and only the moment and the energy of the moment will say, is if it's relevant for them to breathe into the feeling and feel the feeling, really feel it, rather than let's run away from it, let's intellectualize it, let's fix it. It's like, no, let's feel it. And then if it's right, follow the feeling. Where does it take you? And in a split second, it could take them exactly to the scene of the crime that they need to be met in. It's where is this coming from? It's not what's being played out. It's more where is this coming from? What in life, what in your life, in their lives is saying, this is the bit in the dark shadow that needs to be met so they can be free. So at least the equal and the opposite can open up in the gold shadow of what might be. What I often do with clients, and maybe this is the core of my work beyond the groups with the private clients, is I get them to meet different parts of themselves. 15, 20 years ago, I did voice dialogue training, which is a way to speak with different parts of a person. These days, a lot of people do the IFS, internal family systems, which is very similar, the chair work, parts work. There's a TV Netflix cartoon, what's it called, Inside Out or Outside In or something. It's absolutely brilliant. And it's all about the different parts in people. But very often with males and females, but most of my work is with males, the part that's running their lives is their protector. The part that showed up to protect them when they were vulnerable. So in the absence of an adult, in the absence of protection, and literally the protector shows up in the trauma. So who they are, their essence can go into hiding somewhere, never to be touched or tampered with again. And the protector is who the world sees and knows them to be. Yeah. It's who runs the show, the public face, generally coming from fear. Its job is survival. It generally lives in the head, and it's all about second guessing, fearing, fixing, even fixing the fantasies, leave alone the fears. And there's no one available to take part in love. There's no one available to be present. It's all about performance. Who do I need to be in order for you to like me or love me, or even in order for you to take care of my inner child and not harm me? How can I be one of the boys? How can I be, I don't know, cool enough or weak enough or victim enough or scary enough or whatever the game is in order to survive? And they need to know and hear and not demonize their protector. And the gratitude for the protector is he probably saved their lives. The cost of the protector is currently he's probably costing them their lives. Yeah. So they get to know that part.
It seems to be a superpower of men to be able to do that. But then the problem is they don't turn the superpower off, or we don't turn the superpower off.
It all needs to be consciously met. Yeah. Life needs to be consciously met in this moment. That's not conscious. That's fearful, fueled by the past and fearing the future, and manipulating in the present. The part that they meet next generally is the man in them, the part that can be present and connected here and now. And the trust of the protector, because why would the protector abandon ship? Because there's some bloke with hotshot talk around. It's like survival of that child is the name of the game. But if the man is present and can hold the child, then we no longer have a broken-spirited child. We have a free-spirited child and a damn good protector who can advise but doesn't need to run the show. As long as the man remains present and can listen, then the protector can help life grow because the child is safe, job done. With a free-spirited child, I would say it's this frequency that changes. It changes from the protector's frequency, which is give me the same old shit to survive. Then we're distracted and we know what to do and how to do it, into I'm safe, I'm here, bring me what I need in order to take my next step in life, in order to come alive, to navigate into a bigger, better life beyond Groundhog Day. And a free-spirited child has connection to nature or God or spirit or intuition or whatever it is you want to call it. And it's from there, from that frequency, that things can open up in the gold shadow. And the lessons learnt by the protector in the dark shadow are so valuable to help navigate safely into bigger, better life. Does that make sense, or did I just go off on one?
You did go off on one, but it made sense. It made sense to me. I think if you're listening to what Kenny has just said, it would actually be really good to go back and listen to it again, because it's very, very powerful. And
I hate theory. It's so heady. But
I know
practically,
what you mean.
it's just magical to take someone through this. And usually, my sessions are usually 2 hours long, either in the room, and I still record on my laptop so they can, when people shift, their bodies change, their own changes, they have access to thoughts and feelings and memories that they don't generally have. And it's good to have it recorded so they can watch back. If it's online, it's like, well, we're on Zoom anyway. But in a 2-hour session, we basically lay the foundation for life so people can build on that safely and organically. And it's no longer about the work and chasing the work and when that, then everything will be okay. Because, I don't want things to be okay. I want things to be alive. And I'm a bit of a slut for more, knowing that the more I want, the more it's going to come up, that I need to know myself in the dark shadow so I can open more up and live more. That's life. I'm not on a rest life. I'm on a ninja life this time.
Once the shadow's gone, you think about enlightenment as a concept, like it's the kind of the absence of all shadow.
And it's all about here and now.
Yeah.
It's about this moment. But in that 2-hour session, things are shifted.
Yeah.
They get it.
Yeah.
They know themselves without the stories having to be told forever and ever. It's like the protector holds the story and can name it in a way that needs to be named, and the shift can be made. Then from there, it is about navigating into daily life with all the information they need and all the tools they need. It's like, right, let's take part now.
Welcome. Hello. Here you are. Yeah, it's good. It's funny that you say I hate theory, because I was actually writing a workbook to go with the first gate and then the second gate and the third gate. And I was like, it's too heady. It's exactly what you just said. It's too, we love to over-intellectualize stuff as men. And it's very easy to get caught in that conversation of like, just talk about theory for ages. So I turned it into a story.
Way to go.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Excellent.
Turned it into a story. I told the whole thing into a story. And so it's about a man approaching this first gate, and the 3 things that he needs to get in check is his body, his discipline, and his force, and how he almost fails, and the trials and tribulations he goes through, and what he let go of in the process. Yeah, it's really good. And I told it not too long ago. I do weekend camps Friday and Saturday, and we camp out Friday night. So we're on South Coast near Chichester, well, near Petersfield actually. Yeah. And so we're in the South Downs. We go for a long hike, come back. Before the hike, I speak about the shadows and the King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and so I get people thinking about it. Also, the other thing you don't know about me is that I interviewed a suicide bomber in Afghanistan, and so I talk about how the process of someone becoming a suicide bomber is indoctrination, and a story really. It's just a story that's spoken into them, essentially. And that story creates the state of being, and they believe it to be true. And then I realize, there's not much difference between that and me being there as a soldier. I've also had a story spoken into me. I've also been indoctrinated. Yeah. And so there's the war in the mind, how to overcome that. And so that gets the whole thing, that gets the juices flowing. And then we go for a long hike in nature to literally connect with it. So, and then we come back and we have the fire, and I told the story instead around the fire, and it was just amazing.
Wonderful.
And everyone just took what they needed to take from it, and it was all different things. And I know that if I tell the story again to the same person, they'll take something else.
Yeah. And I guess telling the story, I'm guessing that it will be slightly different every time, and it might just be tone. Yeah. Or who's there, or what the weather's like. And you're dead right. What I noticed about men, working with men, is very often once they get it, once they have enough information, then they're willing to take more of a risk. Men need to do their due diligence, which isn't a bad thing, just to know that they're safe. Because boys betray. It's a real tragedy when boys, after being best friends and it's all love and everything, suddenly betray for the pecking order, for girls, for status, for rather than being with their best friends, being with the cool people, mainly through fear. But that betrayal is a tragedy that very few males talk about. And it's a very deep wound. It's tragic.
That is interesting. So you've just reminded me of a betrayal that happened to me as a young boy. And as a young man, there was definitely alcohol involved. So so a lot of friends were drinking in a house party, and they were like, Ben, come outside. And it was an ambush. It was literally an ambush, and they tried to tie me to a tree with cellophane. And I just had some sort of super strength and fought off about 5 guys. I was just like, I just went into rage mode.
And what was that about?
It was just a joke. It was literally just a joke. It was just like, oh, this will be funny. Let's do this thing. And maybe it was showing off to the girls at the party, right? And yeah, that really felt like a betrayal.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it did hurt.
That kind of stuff. It's like, who can I really trust?
Yeah.
And it's interesting how most men don't have friends. And those who do would let things go so far and not really allow the depth of friendship that they crave. And I love the way in the Men Speak community, people have got very deep. I mean, every day it's, weekdays it's 12:30 to 1:30, weekends it's 10:30 to 11:30. It's just 1 hour. Some people have been coming for many years. Some people it's just drop in and out. And these are open groups, it's not closed. Within an hour, the depth that people go to because of the way that we are, the way that we communicate, the space is an invitation in itself. It's normal. Yeah. It's not a special or clever thing.
It's normal, right?
It's normal.
100%.
The fear, the stuff that the media and the statistics, etc., say is not normal. It's just not normal. But what we do is normal. It's not normal for men to admit they have a best friend, even to themselves, leave alone to their best friends. It's not normal to say, I need to be held, or I'm scared, or I'm angry, or I just need to hang out, or anything like that. Meanwhile, it's what's craved. It might be disguised with, doing things. And a lot of the men's organizations are about doing things together in the hope of hanging out, being heard, and getting real. But why not just go straight to the hanging out, being heard, and getting real rather than doing the drinking or doing the fixing or doing the, so many men needing physical connection would, and this is just such old ritual, would either go out on a Friday night, hopefully get laid, and if they get laid, hopefully get a hug at the end of it, and if they don't get laid, then physical violence with another man will do, because it's intimate.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's so important to have these honest, fun relationships.
Yeah. Well,
But
when I do the camps, I always make an effort to hug and to touch, and it's some people are very uncomfortable with it, like, whoa. I'm like,
yeah,
but by the end, everyone's like, yeah, well, we can hug. It's fine. It's not weird.
yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful the way we've got a video of it, actually. So many of us got to know each other so deeply over lockdown. We used to have probably average 20 men a day, if I remember, online every day, mainly from Britain, but all over the world. And I trained people to facilitate, but before that, but also during lockdown, because we needed more facilitators. And people got to know each other incredibly well. And the first time that some of us met facilitators or even participants in London, it was just weird. Because to know another man and his life and his troubles and his history inside out.
Being in the army, you have that. You have that when you're in the army, and I miss that. I do miss that.
What was it like getting back into mainstream life after being in the army?
For me, it wasn't such a big deal because I was sort of done with it. A lot of my mates had left. I didn't really aspire to anyone beyond where I was. And I'd worked with Special Forces, so it's kind of like the best place I could have worked. And so I was ready to leave. Yeah, it wasn't. I missed the early days more, to be honest, when we had this group of guys and we were all together all the time.
The beginning,
yeah,
where you kind of discover it and get to.
We were all training together. You do your basic training together, and then you kind of went into the second phase of training together, and then a bunch of us then went into the first job together.
Right.
So we were probably together for at least 4 years. Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they in your life still?
Not many. Couple are. I think because whilst it was better than what most guys ever have, it still wasn't. We still didn't have the tools of how to communicate and how to listen to each other, and we weren't doing the work with each other like you're doing. Like on the men's circle, I mean, you make some, you make some incredible connections going to these groups because you learn to trust. You learn to. We all still had our wounds, and we were all pecking. We're still boys, really. But it was better than nothing, I think.
And so many people I know who were in the forces have said it was about being there and being with each other now. It's just like drinking or something.
Yeah.
Don't quite know how to do it.
Well, I remember coming back home and sort of spending some time with my childhood friends, and the amount of cocaine that was around, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And they weren't guys who I even ever would have thought would be doing cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously in the military, it's not a thing. Lots of alcohol, but
I met a bloke. His name was Sebastian. I worked with dying men in Calcutta with Mother Teresa for a couple of months running, different years. And I met this guy 1 year when I did it over Christmas and New Year. And we were inseparable. And we had such a laugh, and it was really, really hard, heart-wrenching work. It's what got me over obsessive-compulsive disorder, taking maggots out of this bloke's legs, so hopefully they don't chop it off at the leper colony. And, they were dying, so dealing with their death. And we were thick as thieves. It was the best buzz. I remember one Christmas, Mother Teresa bullied everyone to go singing carols in the streets of Calcutta, and it was boiling hot. And Sebastian said to me, "What is this nonsense? Why are we doing this? And who is this drummer boy that everyone's singing about anyway? What's it got to do with Jesus?" Yeah, and it's true. Who is this little drummer boy nonsense? Anyway, Sebastian came to London, and it was really weird because we didn't have a lot to say or do. It's like we were in the wrong situation to be who we were. We didn't know how to do it. We just didn't know how to do it. It was a huge loss. And it's almost like the guy who I met in London and hung out with in London, helped get a home and a job and whatever. He was a totally different person to my friend Sebastian, who I went through that with.
I've experienced that.
Totally different. And talking about the whole drugs thing, so I was away I thought I was going to be away forever. I'd actually moved to Fiji, but I gave my life back. This was in '93 to wherever I need to be, whatever I need to do. So I was following. I wasn't really I was having my own plans and things, but I was following. I ended up meeting some coincidences, got me moving from the work I did, the voluntary work I did in the villages and islands in Fiji and sitting with the elders and learning all of that, to holding my first groups in Sydney. People I met in Australia followed me to Fiji, took me to Sydney. That's where I started running groups and had a natural health centre with people and did various things there. And I did a lot of travel. I had a lot of adventures, came back to the UK, and I really missed my friends. I really, really, really missed my friends. This was almost 5 years later, came back to the UK, and they basically turned into fuckwits. It's like, what is this? We were thick as thieves, different groups of friends and stuff. We would have the best time. We'd have adventures. We'd explore life. We'd go camping. We'd go walking. We'd hang out. We'd have a laugh. It's just, we'd be poor together. We'd have businesses together. You know, it was just the best. And it was tragic when I came back, because I would say most, maybe all of them, were distracted by drink, drugs, money, power, sex, love, addiction, anything. It was just distraction. So I came back in 98. I think it was 99, maybe. It must have been 99 that I held my first men's group in London. And it was my friends. It was my closest friends. There were like 16, 18 of us. A lot of them didn't know each other, and they were quite sheepish with each other because they were from different classes and they only knew people from their own class. And it was literally, I've never been to a men's group. I don't know what one is. I need to be met at depth. You're all in this men's group with me now. And I need, I'll still go out raving and whatever. And I need to be met at depth. And if you can't do it, then you're probably going to get chucked. And that's where it started. It started for me. And then people told people started changing. I had to get it out of my lounge and get ground rules and everything together and kind of made it up.
So you did it for you?
Totally.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. I was like, I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling disconnected. I don't seem to have as many men around as I like. Yeah. I like camping. I always liked camping when I was a kid. So I'm going to go camping and see if I can invite anyone.
Excellent. That's quality.
Yeah.
And, so many people, I did an interview with this guy who said, we needed money and status and business and blah, blah, blah. So we organized our sales funnels to get clients. And it's like, what is this we nonsense? Don't we on me. But, I never thought that I would have any of this as a way of earning money. The private clients earns money. The groups are really kind of giving back and contribution. But none of it was about business. Not really into business, to be honest. It has to be done. But it's about the work. It's about the connection. It's about
so
making
easy as well, isn't it? So natural.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's about making my world a better place. And that means that the world, I'm not going to pretend I'm some little saint. It's all about me. Yeah. It's all about me wanting a better quality life, which means better quality people, which means a better world. So if I need to make the world a better place so I'm happier, then fuck it, I will.
Yeah. Well, the best place to start is in you. We're all trying to fix other things.
It's all about my wounds and my pain and my lostness and my anything else. Whatever I don't like on the outside, well, it's just reflecting what's going on the inside. So I'll change me.
We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are.
Very clear. So where are things going for you? Do you know? Do you have ideas of what you'd like to do with, because it sounds like you're quite busy. Clients, retreats, the weekends, well, the initiations.
Yeah, so I've got Snowdon coming up. I've got a camp out planned every month. But listening to you talk about the men's circles, I really like. I've thought about it for a while, just having a men's circle online, because I've got there must be 40 guys in the group, in the WhatsApp group, and obviously they can't make every camp. So it'd be nice to do a men's circle. And we did do one. We have done one before where I just basically phoned everybody on WhatsApp. Some people picked up like, what's going on? I was like, you're in a men's circle. We're doing a virtual fire.
Oh, you mean spontaneously there and then? You were all in a group chat or something?
So I put the group chat is all of the men who have come to the camps, and it's sort of built over the last. I've only done it for the last year and then beginning of this year. And so where am I going? I need to. Well, I'd like to build that out so that there's a group of regular guys coming, but I definitely would like to spread that. I think it's so healthy and so needed. I think what you're doing is incredible, and what you achieved is incredible. So well done.
Thank you.
I'm proud to have met you and to be interviewing you on this podcast.
Really cool to hang out.
Yeah.
And I come to my groups and see how we do it, if you like. It's mensgroups.co.uk. It's I've told you the times. It's free for a month and then 20 quid a month.
Amazing.
For unlimited groups. Apart from the daily groups, there's neurodivergent groups, dads groups.
Oh, very good.
We come up with all sorts of different things. They used to be young, retired. We'll probably do that again. They used to be Muslim and Christian and Jewish. And it's not so much about religion. It's about where people have come from and how to take part in life, bringing the best of what they know. But come along. Also, if you like, I will give you, I wrote over lockdown an ebook that I paid someone to schmooze to make it an Amazon #1. It's all algorithms, isn't it? It's all dirty, dark algorithms.
Manipulative, dark
Exactly.
stuff.
I don't even remember what it's called. Something like Online Men's Group Success.
Yeah, I found it.
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Did you?
I've got a note here to ask you about it, actually, funnily enough.
Well, I was going to send it to you, and if people want
Amazing.
to get it for free, then they can get it from you or me rather than having to buy it from Amazon. But it's a really simple, usable how-to with men's groups.
Great.
So come, check that out. I'll show you. I've just finished a training. I've got an accredited training. And the weird thing about this training with this cohort, so there are loads of videos and things with me talking with various facilitators about lots of different things. And then there are bonus things like me talking with a friend, Dr. Christine Page, about perimenopause and female hormones. It's like, if you want to be a man, you need to know about this kind of shit and how to take care of yourself and survive it. Come on. Female hormones is what it's all about. I mean, we have the andropause, that's a different story. We've got testosterone, how really can that be? But hold on to your hat, female hormones. But the interesting thing about the last cohort is how feisty they were. Right. And it was especially the women, because the training's open to all genders. And when we go into breakout rooms to practice, people are asked, do you want to be in a women-only group, a men-only group, or a mixed group, or doesn't it matter? But it was the women who were enraged. And they were acting like the blokes we talked about. How can we do this right? If you don't tell us how to do it, you need to tell us how to do it so we could do it right. And then you could see us do it right. And then we know we've done it right. And then we know we can do it.
What?
It's like, exactly. Meanwhile, the object of the exercise is to be with, not to do, to enable, not to put a script or a formula on people. I mean, sure, there are lots of tools, but it was so interesting.
Is that because of the, I'm going to say women in general?
Well, this is the weird thing. It's not usually the female way. It's usually the male way. But with this cohort, and the women were very sharp, clear, efficient, active masculine side as well. You know, male, female, we all need the both in balance. But it was very strange that it was the women. And it was just amazing because I would say the strongest, hardiest man, the biggest bollocks on the planet, the bully in the boardroom, when there is toxic femininity, especially if it's a woman who's angry or disappointed or withdraws or criticizes, can crumble like that. It's the toxic femininity that can really hurt and break a man more than the toxic masculinity, which is like, this is what it is. This is why I'm angry. You know what it is. You know what's going on. Thank God the beating's done and out of the way. But the men, especially in the breakout rooms at times, really copped it. And they really learned how to hold their child safe, meet things, be solid, and let it go deeper. Get into holding the anger, being with the anger, follow the feeling, where does it come from? And it's only in being with themselves and taking care of themselves that they could allow this to happen. And we had rage and mutiny. And by the end, the way in the next week, it got into really gentle, intimate being. And by the last week, we left in love. And so many people just changed so much over 7 weeks like this. It was phenomenal.
They did the real work is doing the work on you.
Absolutely. And people need to know how and to be safe enough. So it's held open that they can do the work on themselves without their lessons being stolen by someone telling them what or how or where or when. It's not about the answer. It's about the journey. And I'm sure this is what your initiations are all about. Holding a safe space for the journey to take place, for the individual to claim their path.
Exactly. I did a video yesterday. I know we're going to have to wrap this up soon, but I did a video yesterday saying for my website, just to say, basically, I have no qualifications whatsoever. I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not nothing. Not even a coach, really. But I have done the work, and it sounds like that's what you're talking about.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm very clear that I'm not a therapist or a coach. I've done a lot of studies. I've been around a lot over many, many years. And I've got this, that, and the other certificate. And a lot of my clients and the people I train are therapists and coaches, etc., etc. The theory is absolutely fine and important.
Yeah.
The real work is meeting myself wherever I need to meet myself so I can be with a person where they are.
Yeah.
And that's the depth of it. And I would say with a lot of people, after many years of whatever modality they go through, that's the bit that they've been chasing. Very often, therapists send me clients. And even with my own clients, it gets to a stage where we've done enough in the room and it doesn't have to be very long. And now it's time to leave the room and get into a group because you've been met in the room, you know yourself.
Yeah.
Now you can know yourself in a group as a stepping stone to mainstream life. So you can really practice with who you are, who you no longer need to be, how to navigate, how to have good boundaries, and how to really wholeheartedly take part in life in alignment with yourself, with your feet firmly on the ground, right here and right now, so you can get high between heaven and earth and take part authentically in this moment. God, that almost felt like I'm demanding an amen or something.
That's the mic drop moment that we will end on. Man, Kenny, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm really obvious why we were introduced now, but it's been amazing to meet you. Incredible.
Good on Judy putting us together. Right?
Yeah. Do you know how she said to me about you? She said, Kenny is the kind of guy who will walk into a room and light it up. And I thought,
no,
I need to meet this man.
I love Judy has changed so many people's lives.
Really?
I knew of her many, many years ago with Piatka's Publishing, Judy Piatka's.
Right.
She was like there's a woman called Louise Hay, and then there was Hay House Publishing.
Yeah.
Judy was pretty much the same in the UK. And I used to promote some of her authors without knowing her. In a previous life, I had a marketing and publicity company.
Right.
Before the internet, and we did world tours with people like James Brown and the Blues Brothers Band and the Royal Russian Ballet, Nina Simone and whatever. And I used to promote all the health and well-being and spirituality and all of this stuff before it was trendy. So this was in the 80s.
Yeah.
So many years later, I met Judy and we just hit it off. And then I helped her with Conscious Cafe that is doing so incredibly well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, wonderful woman.
Wow. I didn't know that about her. I'm in I'm in a group with her, BIP 100.
Oh, with Penny and
Thomas.
What's his name? Thomas.
Yeah.
Excellent people. Really excellent people. Yeah. We have people in common already.
We do. Yeah. Great. Well, I look forward to just being in touch and communication with you, actually. Yeah.
Well, come to the groups online, message me on WhatsApp, tell me when you're going. And Do you go to the bit lunches and stuff like that?
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like to go to a lunch again sometime.
Okay.
Otherwise,
I'll get you an invite.
yeah, it's just time. It's not so much the invitation. I just need to make the time, because usually now I live in Wales. When I'm in London, I'm usually booked up with clients during the days. Then I've got closed groups at nights. And sometimes I go on Times Radio on a Friday night. There's a Man Friday slot that I often do with Jeff Norcott. Love radio, don't like stage. Love radio, TV even. It's like, it's cool. But big audiences and dark lights and me speaking at, I'd rather hang out with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, it would also be great to have a camp with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
You'd be very welcome to come. Yeah,
I'd love that. Yeah, I love the South Downs.
Good.
Right, I have supervision in a minute.
Yeah,
supervision. Like,
Cheers,
how
Kenny.
grown up is that? Take good care. Good to hang out.
Lots of love. Bye bye.
You too.